Hello, this is Robert Antoni here, and I'm here with Christopher. Christopher and we just recently closed on your property here, and I'm here to ask you a couple quick questions. So first, Christopher, well, if you could explain why did you end up selling your property for cash, and why did you decide to work with me?
Yeah. So ultimately, I initially didn't even have a care in the world about selling the property. I had met with two different people. The second person I met with that was given an estimate on the mold that was in the home approached me about selling the home to them, and I was like, no, that's not really my. I'm not really interested in that. I'm good. At the time, I was dealing with my mother's medical situation, and I had ultimately found out from the state about how it is, what you can own, what you can't own, how many properties you can't have. So
Right.
I got to a point to where I kind of had no choice but to sell the actual property. In the midst of all of this happening, there was this little bitty little postcard that was in the mail, little white postcard. I
Hmm.
think it might have said Sarah, but I can be wrong.
Right.
It wasn't Robert on the card. And I had looked at the card and set it down and said, okay, I may call on this card in a couple of days and just to see and check. Before that happened, I had called the second group of guys that came out to give the estimate on the mold and talked to them, about selling the home. I contacted the first person, and then I was planning on calling the postcard on the Tuesday.
Right.
I ended up calling the postcard on the Sunday, left a message, and then I got called back earlier in the week, and at that point it was Robert.
Hmm.
Robert had introduced himself and said he would like to come out and see the place, take some pictures, things like that. We met one mid evening ish when he came out to look at it, and he took his pictures and he said he was gonna have to come back. Spoke to me a little bit there on the lawn and explained the process to the best of his ability quickly. Um, Gave me some different options that he said he would give me better options and elaborate on them in a couple of days. And then we got ready to basically disperse, set up a time to meet again. And after we had a couple of phone conversations, Robert figured out his numbers. I became very comfortable with the fact that he cared about my circumstance, cared about my mother, cared about what we were dealing with, and cared to educate me to where I would be able to understand the process. He broke down how it worked for people in this particular business, to be able to make a living off of it, how to have a fair offer, how to try to be within I think his words were a sweet spot for
Right.
everyone, all the parties involved. He broke down to me different options if I wasn't comfortable with selling it for cash, other available options, and took the
Right.
time, like I said, to actually educate me. He was uniquely different from the two other groups of people that I spoke to about purchasing the home. So the reason I decided to go with Robert was based upon those reasons, was based upon the care, the concern, and the education, and his understanding my situation.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Christopher, let me ask you this: how was your experience with me? And then was I able to deliver on everything that I promised?
Yes. So based on the circumstance of us all being on a pandemic lockdown, I would say that the delivery time was probably impeccable considering the fact that I'm out of state, Robert's out of state, and the closing company's out of state, and we
Right.
were still able to come together and get everything done. Took a little back and forth with FedEx, but other than that, the
Right.
timing was really good, pretty much spot on to what Robert said. He said that, that normally he tries to get it done in like 2 weeks. If you weigh in, quarantine, then 2 weeks is pretty much what he got it done in. So
Right.
yeah, I would say the timing was really good.
All right, Christopher. Well, I do appreciate your time here. Thanks again, and I enjoyed working with you. So,
Thank you.
best of luck to you and your family.
Yep. Anyone looking, I think you guys should definitely work with Robert. So
All right. Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. Not a problem.